Hi there. How you doing? It's me, Mr. Moohead. This is what I would look like if I was lobotomized. You're probably saying, Mr. Moohead, why would you be thinking about lobotomies at a time like this?
Well, he is a registered Democrat.
No, that's not it at all. I'd rather have a bottle in front of me.
You're my hero.
Than have me a frontal lobotomy. Okay. I think sports fans are lobotomized. I do. I really do. And it's not that I have this lesser view of others, even though I am superior. I don't really have this lesser view of others. It's just that the way that professional sports treats us, it treats us like we're lobotomized. And that's what today's show is about. It's about what it is to be manipulated by the forms of entertainment that you choose. I'll give you some examples. How can you be there? Because there could be any number of ways that could happen. Manipulation can happen in many different ways. In professional sports, I like an outcome that is unpredictable. I like the idea of the Rocky music of the movie, not because the Rocky movie moves me in a way that, that kind of shit doesn't move me. Brain damage people don't
like
move me.
X-Lax for my soul.
Hey, Paulie, I just got a letter, Paulie. I got to run in the 100-yard dash of the Special Olympics.
I don't really want to hear that. However, it's the message. I think the reason I'm going blurry sometimes is because of autofocus in the camera. I wonder if that's possible. Yeah, anything's possible, I guess. It's possible. But you see, manipulation of people, it ruins it for me because deep down when I watch Rocky, I don't see a brain-damaged and addled guy who married to a woman in horn-rimmed glasses. I see an underdog. I see a guy who clawed his way up from the bottom.
That's why they call me a southpaw, Southpaw, South Jersey,
I like to believe that a guy like Rocky Balboa could actually win the heavyweight title of the world. Buster Douglas, excuse me. I just like to believe shit like that. It's like the character in Boogie Nights said, I'm really not very hard to please, I'm not going to say that quote either. That's one of the most disgusting movie quotes in the history of the cinema. I'm not hard to please. What did he say exactly? A little butter in my ass and lollipops in my mouth. I'm not a hard guy to please. Okay. I'm not a hard guy to please when it comes to my sports. I just want to know that it's a fair shake. But it's not. And I'm going to ruin it for all of you by decloaking all of this once and for all and saying, you understand you're part of this gigantic marketing undercurrent that is going on. Right now, it's the NFL and the Brady Fest. All right? I thought the Bradys were people I wanted to murder in the 1960s, okay? And now they've come back for yet a second time in the form of Giselle and Tom, and I want them dead just as sure as Alice is 6 feet under the ground. And Mr. Brady died of AIDS. That's the weirdest part of it to me. What was his name in the show?
Mike.
Oh, Mike! You took another dick up your ass. Oh, Mike! See, Florence Henderson. Oh, Mike! HIV positive. Oh,
There's nothing like that 804th cup of coffee in the morning.
oh my God. And Jan Brady was mentally ill. I mean, God, Jesus.
Marsha.
She had water on the brain. I wanted those people dead and off the planet. You know, and it's like Johnny Bravo. I wanted somebody to take a goddamn ballpark Frank and shove it up his ass, but cook it first so it hurt more. But this is all we're looking at now in the NFL.
Bravo cartoon, though.
Now, does anybody really? I mean, does anybody care about the Rams? I mean, really? Really? I mean, there are people betting on the Rams, but that's not what I'm talking about. Is there anybody out there who really gives a flying fuck about the Stupor Bowl, as Brian calls it, or the Stupid Bowl, as I call it, or the $10 million a minute advertising vehicle, or you don't want to know how bad it is, the marketing wars? We've got Brady, and we've got, it gets down to the point where it's like Maroon 5 just denied press access to a press conference. I don't get, what the fuck is Maroon 5? Is that a goddamn color of a dress? Is that a movie that David Jansen starred in back in the 1970s? What the fuck is Maroon 5? And why do I care about Maroon 5 lip syncing at the goddamn Super Bowl? What do I care about that for? And the answer is anything we can do to get a headline. All right? If the lead singer for Maroon 5 had to publicly defecate to get a headline, you know that the NFL would be right there behind him. Well, maybe in front of him. Now, the next thing is the NBA, who can't sit idly by. The NBA cannot sit idly by while the NFL gets all the headlines. So we end up with, well, is LeBron going to miss another game, another game? Yeah, right? But wait a minute, he and Kyrie have made up. And by the way,
now New York has stolen the show.
Yeah, who shot JR? Right? That's what we're dealing with. And it's like, the New York Knicks just got rid of Christian Porzingis for somebody they could have drafted. And they passed up. You know, gee, why did they do that? I don't understand. Why did they do that? And then at the same time, it's like Unibrow has this revelation.
Ironically, after he gets signed by LeBron's talent agency.
You know, he don't want the beads around his neck. He's dropped all of his pearl necklaces all over New Orleans. He don't need that shit no more. Don't need that shit no more. You know, I'm going to make it known to the public.
It's all one big DNA sample now.
That's exactly right. You know, and what's pathetic about it is he's, you know, it's my time to move on. I'm going to publicly announce this, even though I'm not even a free agent until next year. And the NBA says, oh, we have to stop this. Wait a minute. There's something caught in my eye. Wait a minute here, folks. Something's caught in my eye. You know, oh, we're going to fine him $50,000. $50,000? That's a tip. That's a fucking tip for Unibrow. If a good-looking waitress who's half out of her top comes over to the table, he tips her $50,000. And of course, he gets something on the side. I mean,
and
come
it ain't
on.
the garden salad.
And now Kyrie is like, you don't ask me July 1st where I'm going to be, and now I'll press, I don't know that Kyrie's going to be in Boston anymore. Now the Irish Catholics are like, yeah, get rid of him, yeah. I can't figure this out. It's like, this is pathetic. I mean, we're not even paying attention to the games anymore. We already know the teams that are going to be in the playoffs in the NBA. We already know. I mean, it's stupid. The whole thing's dumb. It's like, and the Knicks, oh, we don't care if we lose the rest of the games from now until eternity, you know? We might get that number one pick, but no, we won't pick Zion. Fuck no. We'll pick some guy from Illinois Wesleyan because that's what we do.
That's what happens when you let the inmates take over the prison.
The Dolan family. Yeah, this is what I need. This is what I need. And you folks take it seriously. You know why? You're lobotomized. You know, you're lobotomized the same way WWE fans are. Hey, but he was a good guy just yesterday when I went to the arena. Now he's a heel.
Oh.
I'm buying into this. Yeah. Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah. It's entertainment. You gotta be fucking stupid, folks. You gotta be stupid. So now New Orleans will suck even worse. You know? Boogie Cousins leaves Sacramento. You wonder, you know, how would things go in Sacramento? If there was a fucking earthquake and it broke off and it just drifted into the Pacific, nobody would care. Nobody in the NBA would care. If a nuclear detonation went off and wiped out the city of Sacramento, they wouldn't care.
We would cheer.
No, I mean, that's, yeah. They were the good guys, but the good guys deserve to lose. This is the WWE, you know. So now Boogie Cousins is gone. He makes Golden State even more unbeatable. And boy, does LeBron need help in Los Angeles. Boy, you know, and they said to him, you know, you're not going to get help. You know, we're not going to give you help the first year. Bullshit! Bullshit! It's going to rain manna from the skies, ladies and gentlemen, as it always does. LeBron shows up. He'd be the greatest rainmaker in history. I come to your town and I make it rain. That's what he does. And it's not just him, it's the fucking league that sponsors all of this nonsense. So now Unibrow will show up and go, you know, and I'm not going to Los Angeles. That was like LeBron. What makes you think I'm going to Los Angeles? Your production companies, your son wants to go to school there. No, what are you talking about? I don't have any
Two multi-million-dollar fucking houses.
Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about. It's called the breadcrumb trail, you stupid fuck. Have you ever read Hansel? Oh, you wouldn't read Hansel and Gretel? You can't read! God damn it. God damn it. That's an upper crust, god damn it. That's Thurston Howell the Third's, god damn it. God damn it, Gilligan. You shit in the coconut again. That is the Thurston Howell. God damn it. So you have all of these elements happening all at once, and you folks are believing this shit? Answer me this before I lose my fucking mind, please. What does it matter where Unibrow goes if nobody cares about the games while they're being played? You know, what does it matter? There are no New Orleans fans. You know, this sounds like the movie Network.
The whole season doesn't matter.
That's right. I mean, if you never saw the movie Network, you know, it's the speech that is given to Howard Beale, the mad prophet of the airwaves, by Jensen, the president of the network. And he says, there is no you and me and us. There's only AT&T, ITT, Union Carbide, and he names off all of the corporations. You know, that's all the NBA is. There are no Cleveland fans. There are no New Orleans fans. There are no Sacramento fans. There are no Phoenix fans. There's none of this shit. All it is NBA fans, just like WWE fans. You don't buy into an individual franchise anymore. You're not even fans. You're lobotomized.
But Mr. Moohead, can I comment on that?
Yes, you may.
Okay. But back in the 90s and the 80s, like every city had at least one star that you could market around. Now, the way it's transcended over the years, you don't have those back-to-the-basket centers anymore. You just got predominantly a bunch of three-point shooters, which you can say that for probably like 90% of the league, or just a bunch of jump-up shooters. And I think that sped the game faster up. Yeah, sure. But then, of course, if you just got like 30 guys that can run around and shoot threes, it really leaves you with limited options to market around. And when you've got three teams that occupy 90% of the greatest players in the game right now.
That's right.
That really leaves you limitless on the other teams that are at the bottom. So you have the New Orleans, the Jazz, or something that can only maybe market around a guy who's maybe subpar average at best, and then everybody else is just left in the gutter. You know.
Call it for what it is, because they came and they went. The Jazz haven't been important since Karl Malone and Stockton were there. The Utah Jizz. That's what I call them. God damn it.
Even with Detroit, when you had Blake Griffin go there and they tried to market around him, he turned into Josh Smith. Remember when Josh Smith went to Detroit for 4 years? And same thing with Blake Griffin.
Well, they're not good enough to carry a team. And you know what? And this is what Kyrie will find out too. If he was hoping for the white boy to come back from a broken ankle and help him, that ain't going to happen. I mean, it's like superstars don't come out of Butler. Hello?
Nope.
Hello? Where are you? Where Kyrie? Is anybody home? No, it's like, the earth is flat. The earth is flat. Thank you, Kyrie, because you're such an intelligent guy. You went to Duke for 6 months. What an intelligence factor
Gotta
you
go
have.
to Kmart. Gotta buy underwear.
God damn.
That's why I gave up on NBA. It's the players totally rule that league.
Will you have a little bit of excitement to see Kristaps Porzingis and that other guy playing next year? I'm a little bit excited about that.
Are you really? Well, you're easily excited. Brittany told me that. The bottom line is this. Kristaps Porzingis. Am I excited about seeing him? Yeah, just seeing him because he's hurt half the time. And as far as whether he becomes greater, I mean, you know, so what's going to happen? You know what's going to happen. It always happens. You know,
Still going to be the man.
Dallas is Dallas.
I know, but he's going to be playing next to White Jordan. You know,
White Jordan.
Yeah,
don't you think? Luka Doncic? You're going to call him White Jordan?
White Jordan. They're calling him White Jordan. His moves are just. I've never seen a white dude move around like that. Other than Steve Nash, maybe.
Let me explain something to you. Jordan played 30 fucking years ago, and lots of people move better than Michael Jordan. White Jordan. You know, I'm going to let Roxanne gnaw at your leg for saying that.
But that's what they're calling him. That's what they're calling him, White Jordan.
That's what you just called him.
No, the media calls him that.
You know something? Jordan isn't white. Jordan isn't black. Jordan is just an icon of basketball, made larger than life because of basketball shoes and Hanes underwear. I mean, he's a lousy owner. A great basketball player. All right. Luka Doncic is not Michael Jordan. Stop it. All right. Do you know how long it took LeBron James to get into the same breath as Michael Jordan? And you're going to anoint Luka fucking Doncic? Come on. You can't look at him. They're laughing. He can't even do it with a straight fucking face.
Okay, you got to like his movesets, though. Impeccable for I've never seen anybody like that.
Wonderful rookie, and that's where it stops. It's like, you know, I don't see signs of Luka Doncic being the next Michael Jordan, but then again, I'm not lobotomized by professional sports. This is the script you're supposed to follow. You know, he was the number 3 pick, so now you know what's on Cleveland.com. Could the Browns or the Cavaliers have traded up for Luka Doncic? Did they miss an opportunity? It's like nobody thought he was going to be. They thought he was going to be good, but they said they got Colin Sexton with the worst metrics in basketball. And you want to know something? Take a look at the number 1, 2, and 3 pick from every fucking NBA draft and compare it to the 8th pick. And tell me there's not a difference. Tell me what happens when Zion goes 1 and who chooses 8. and see who comes out better. Unless the Knicks get one. They'll fuck it up. They'll get the Illinois Wesleyan guy. But I mean, there's a huge difference between 1, 2, 3, and 8. And the reason is there's no depth in the NBA draft either. And that's one of the reasons why, Stephen, why when these great players assemble in one town, that you can't compete because the new fresh talent coming into the league, there isn't enough of it.
Yeah, I agree.
It's a bad mechanism. So
that's
what
why I gave up on it myself a long time ago. The
Yeah.
players absolutely have the most control over the owners.
Well, I mean, that doesn't even bother me. That's a Republican point of view there, Philip. You're not a Trumper, are you?
Huh? I said the players have more control over. That's why you have these super teams, right? They have more power than the owners.
No. You see, you know what's funny about it? Do you really think that LeBron woke up one morning and said, I'm going to Miami? You don't think that the fact that Pat Riley showed up, you don't think that was league orchestrated? Come on.
Yeah.
They end up where they're told to go. LeBron had to go to Los Angeles because the window on the Clippers died. Steve Ballmer turned out to be almost as much of a moron as Donald Sterling was.
Is it fair to say that if who went to Toronto, that was Kawhi Leonard, if he would have went to the Clippers, do you think LeBron would have went with him?
No. Never go to the Clippers. The Clippers, but that's like having two college teams in the same state, Ohio State and Ohio University. And it's like, I'm getting behind OU football in Athens. Yeah, fat fucking chance. I mean, in Los Angeles, there's the Lakers of Showtime Lakers. It's like, hey, there's a chance you could actually see Jack Nicholson die in Staples Center, okay? Which is exciting. That's exciting for me. Diane Cannon, you might get to witness her last stretch of vaginal wetness. You might be able to see that in Los Angeles with the Lakers, but with the Clippers, you know what you see? Nobody. What celebrities in Los Angeles ever really got behind the Clippers?
Billy Crystal.
Billy Crystal
hasn't made a movie in 30 years.
City Slickers.
No, but I mean, I just saw a stand-up routine of his like last year, and he's like 82 years old, and he's a hunchback. I mean, it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. That doesn't count. I said a current celebrity. There's no buzz. There's no vibe around the Clippers. No, he wouldn't have. And Kawhi Leonard didn't go there either. He'd rather leave the country than go to the Clippers. Are you kidding? Yeah, Clippers suck. They had to get the Lakers back on the ball. And they had to do it even with a dumb owner in place there. They had to do it, all right? They had to build. And they got to do something with New York. They're trying feverishly. They really. I know they're doing better than people expected, but not because of their Russian owner. That guy you want to talk about a wipeout. Ivan Kazatsky or whatever the fuck his name is. I mean, the guy screwed up. And he just turned that into Desolation Alley.
Just to let you know, LeBron James is officially back. I think he won that,
yes.
that one the other day. But they're saying maybe out again?
No, I don't know. I mean, no, he said that he would see how he woke up the next day, and then he would see how he felt. What are they saying, Stephen?
Oh, no, I'm just saying that he can't afford to sit out any longer, dude. They're at the 9th seed, 27-25, already 52 games in the season. You only got about 30 left. That window's starting to close, man.
Well, it ain't going to be a matter of whether he sits a few games. I would be worried if his body starts falling apart because of the collective minutes that he's played over his career. That's what I would be worried about. And I love LeBron. And I think he's a great basketball player.
And especially when he played 82 games last year, all 82 games, it was for a max contract, but he couldn't get that because he was going to another team.
Yeah, I mean, not only that, but he gets deep into the playoffs every year to the finals. Guy plays more minutes and more games than anybody in the history of the game. 16th fucking year, it's bound to break down at some point. So, you got to bring somebody like Unibrow in there because you just don't know. You don't know. I mean, could you imagine what Jeannie Buss would do? What would Jeannie Buss do if LeBron went down? No, not on her. I mean, he went down on the court. Okay, let's just be clear about what we're talking about.
Well, that's pretty much the end of their season.
Yeah, gone. And then all the talk about GOAT and this and that goes away, and then they have to come up with new scripts for the NBA. All I'm saying is there's no chance that these other teams are going to get better. And you look at the Cavaliers, and it's like, does anybody really care about the Cavaliers at the trade deadline? Who are they going to get rid of? You know what that's like? That's like going to the clearance sale at TJ Maxx. Who gives a fuck? Who gives a fuck? I mean, there's nothing to get from them. There's nothing to get.
Nothing.
I mean, Burks and guys like that. I mean, these guys suck. Do you know how bad Cleveland is? That they're sitting there going, well, Jetty Osman is the man. Jetty Osman is the future. If Jetty Osman is the future, I want climate change now and starvation and death, okay? Because that can't be my future. No fucking way. So that was my point today. If you buy all of this, the timing of this, that, I mean, either you're just lobotomized or you just agree that your sports have become entertainment and they don't mean anything anymore inside your heart. That you don't have a heart that beats anymore because you'll cheer for LeBron winning in Los Angeles as much as you'll cheer for LeBron winning in Cleveland. You got no fucking heart that ticks, dudes. Nothing.
Do you think maybe there's also too many teams in the league? Because, like, you got 30 teams, and I mean, you can only market, like, maybe, 10 at best? I mean,
I
maybe.
agree with you, Steven. I agree with you.
Yeah, well, I mean, technically that's true, but they need the revenue. You know, he needed the money. Little boy blue. He needed the money. I mean, that's the league. But yeah, it makes for worthless basketball in literally until the end of the year. In 22 out of 30 cities, it's worthless. And then the lucky 8 that get into the playoffs, it's like, you know.
So, Mark, you support like a competitive balance type of deal when they had in the 80s and 90s where these players can't just create mega teams.
Yeah. What I support is this. There is such a thing as a league, and the league has to be about making the game more profitable, right? The thing is, if you're an owner and you buy into a league team, like the early guys who formed the NFL, the Lamar Hunts and all those people, you know, the hope was at the time that the league would become big enough to become self-sustaining, that we would put franchises, you see, in all these different cities. And competitive balance became really important because when Green Bay took the lead and it was like they were winning Super Bowls, it's like, wow, that's a town of 80,000 people in Wisconsin. And it's like, wow, they're at the center of the football universe. That was what the NFL was about. And that was what it was founded upon. And then there was the rivalries of the Chiefs and the Raiders and, all that stuff. And the surprise endings, the Doug Williams comebacks, the Jim Plunkett comebacks, and the NFL has been full of great names and incredible underdogs. Does anybody remember who Timmy Smith is? Anybody remember Timmy Smith? Tell them. Go ahead.
He's the running back at the Super Bowl with the Redskins.
That's right. And what did he do in the Super Bowl? Do you remember?
Ran roughshod over anybody that got in his way, pretty much.
He rushed for 202 yards in the Super Bowl. That's what Timmy Smith did. Timmy fucking Smith, who showed up to camp the next year overweight, never amounted to anything else, but he was Rocky Balboa for a day. That's what it was about. That's what it was all about back then. That's what the NFL was founded on, man. And I still to this day have and it's really the whole Cleveland Browns thing. It's the underdog thing. I like the Browns. I grew up with the Browns, but it's like, wow, if you can go from 0-16 to a playoff team in 2 years, then that league is fair.
Mm-hmm.
Not the calls that the officials make. That's not fair. But the league itself, as far as competitive balance, if you can't field a competitive team like the Browns couldn't for decades, that's your own incompetence. That's on you. You had the chance. You just blew it over and over again.
Mr. Muhead, now that we're on Browns talk, can I ask you a question? Didn't Saquon Barkley win Rookie of the Year? In my opinion, his impact on the Giants was not as meaningful as the impact that Mayfield changed the whole culture of that town, of that city that's been only maybe winning 2-3 games at best for the last 15 years. And for Mayfield to turn it around, how did he not have more impact than Saquon Barkley, who's just a good running back? He didn't change that culture. And I'm wondering, how are they convinced to give it to Saquon Barkley over Baker Mayfield?
It's a fan vote.
Yeah, that's right.
The Pepsi is just a fan vote. It means nothing.
Yeah, well, I mean, there are more fans in New York City than there are in Northeast Ohio. But I mean, he'll win the AP too because it's New York. You know, my feeling is the base of marketing in New York, the amount of attention that's written about and stated about Saquon Barkley. And let me say this, Saquon Barkley had a hell of a year. I mean, 1,307 yards and 91 receptions. And I mean, really a good year. And he's what I would say about Saquon Barkley is what I've said about other running backs. I mean, if I was you put him in a bowl, he can break long runs, and he's got all that capability. But at the same time, he's one hit away from, as Mike Tyson would say, Bolivian. He is one step away from trouble. All right, as all NFL players are. But guys who cut on a dime, like Saquon Barkley, who have happy feet, they tend to ACL injuries. Right. And, once those things hurt you don't come back. You don't come back. So, but as far as the two men are concerned, it's the best possible outcome, Cleveland. Be a Cleveland fan for a minute with me instead of just being a lobotomized fool. Be a Browns fan with me for a minute. If you threw all the roses and the accolades at Baker Mayfield, maybe he'd get fat and sassy. Give that award to Saquon Barkley, please, baby Jesus. Give it to Saquon Barkley. I want my quarterback to continue having this horrible chip on his shoulder. And I want him to fucking stare all of them down. Stare Goodell down. Stare all of them
So do you feel like Baker Mayfield's getting the Tom Brady treatment? Roger Goodell doesn't really like Brady and the Patriots, so maybe he's getting that same kind of treatment. Like, well, you're with the Browns. What do you expect? You thought I was going to give you Rookie of the Year,
Well, no, I think Goodell loves the Patriots, and he's secretly getting, laid with, by Bob Kraft's girlfriends. I mean, I don't see that at all. I think he and Goodell are buddies, and that has tainted the integrity of the league. But what I will say is this. I just want them to keep pissing Baker Mayfield off because, Hugh Jackson proved it to me. Not only is he standing in a cheese line, I knew it wasn't going to end up in a lake. It was going to end up in a cheese line for Hugh. All right. But there's nothing worse than being unemployed and having this guy who's 23 years old stare you down on the field because you fucked with him. I'm all for this. Give it to Saquon. AP, give it to him. I want to see Baker Mayfield next year make everybody fucking pay. I want the Browns in the playoffs. That's what I want. I want to see Baker Mayfield play in a game after last season. You have an answer for that one, Roxanne?
I do not.
Okay.
I say Brown. I say they'll go 10-6 and make the playoffs.
I love putting people on the spot. I love doing that, especially female listeners and bad taste of the mouth. That's just really rude and disgusting and obnoxious. And it presupposes something, and it's wrong, folks. It's wrong, and I apologize.
I wanted to add, Roxanne, you said something in the comment section about it lagging. Sometimes if it lags too much, just sign off and then sign back on. It refreshes it. I was just letting you know.
Thanks.
Thank you. Yep, he's a tech wizard.
For future reference.
Yeah, what left a bad taste in Baker Mayfield's mouth? It was that last game when he threw the pick on the play on 4th down that he couldn't get that ball and win and go 8-7-1. And it's like, shit, that's the worst thing that happened to Baker Mayfield last year. It's like, and he's still thinking about it, man. It's like, insult this guy. I want to see him in a playoff game. I want to see him on the road in a playoff game and the Browns beating them. And I want to see him do that.
I think Mr. Moohead cut off. Can you guys hear him?
I cannot hear him.
Big freezing.
Off all day.
Freezing.
Yeah.
I'm freezing?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's moments where you'll freeze.
Several times tonight.
And it'll stop for like 10 seconds. That's why I sign off and sign back on.
Uh-oh. Well, let me try this, folks.
It's unpredictable, though, because it happens just randomly.
Yeah, it just happened out of nowhere.
Well, that's really unusual. I'm sorry about that, folks. Hopefully it won't be that way on the damn archive.
Yeah.
I hope not.
Very bad of the robot, so.
I'm being censored. I knew it. I know what it is. It's Roxanne doing it. It was the bad taste in the mouth comment, and it upset her tremendously. And somehow she's fucking with my connection. I know it.
Oh, the wrath of a woman.
Yeah, power of the booty.
At any rate. Oh, I should say hi to the people in the chat room. So Frisbee is saying the show on YouTube is lagging, you big dummy. Okay, he's doing a Sanford and Son thing. You big dummy. Okay, I'll go for that.
Thanks, Derek.
Yeah, why isn't Derek on the show? I don't know.
He's embarrassed about something.
I know. I mean,
he said something about he had to work late again today.
Oh, they don't have, they don't allow box boys and supermarket chains to have Wi-Fi. I forgot.
Mr. Moohead, Chad just said you're the richest guy on this panel, and yet you have the worst internet connection.
That's not really true. I have a very good, I switched it to a 2G network before the show from 5G because I'm getting fluctuating power on the 5G network. I'm showing full strength on this. And it, I don't know what would cause this. I don't really know. But again, I'm going to be getting a whole new mesh network. And when I get a new mesh network, it'll allow me to broadcast from anywhere in the house.
Woohoo!
So, yeah, I know. That'll be it. Who in the hell got that excited?
That was Roxanne.
Okay.
She wants you back in bed, Moo.
Yeah, right. Yeah. What I'm going to say is, it's a decorating thing. It's like everyone's so sick of this backdrop, Alistair Erskine said, Mr. Moohead, I missed your comment on the Anthony Davis trade request. It's like, okay, just watch the show when it's over. Okay, watch the archive. I'm not going back over that again, but believe me, it was not friendly.
They said everyone's available but LeBron. That's what they said.
Yeah. It is Clutch Sports, a.k.a. LeBron James, destroying the NBA. No, the league does this. And, the league survived the departure of Michael Jordan and all the others, and they'll survive the departure of LeBron James. And they are star makers and star breakers. And, you know that Carmelo's going to end up with LeBron. You know that, don't you? Me and Jenny, we're like
where's Melo
peas and carrots.
Where's Melo going?
Lakers.
Oh yeah, figures.
No, he will. He will because it's just that's what LeBron wants. They're going to.
Remember what you said back in August or back in the summer. You said this is Carmelo Anthony waiting for the ball when you're going to have AD and LeBron on the court.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, but if they can let him have open looks, maybe he can do better because he's old. He's got old legs.
I would even question if LeBron's even hurt. It seems like he's just taking a sabbatical until he gets all of his boys there, and then you start playing.
Talking about who's hurt and who's not. Look at the Cavaliers. That's all bullshit. all of it's bullshit, you know?
Right.
It's like, well, we got to wait a little longer for Kevin Love.
You're tanking. Why don't you trade Kevin Love?
Yeah, it's all.
Oh, Kristaps Porzingis is going to debut in Cleveland tomorrow as the Dallas Mavericks head down to quicken.
Yeah, like, you know, we have somebody who can guard him, you know. Why don't we put Ante Zizic on him, you know? Give me a break. Like, and you want to know the worst part of it is that the Cavaliers have won 2 in a row. How did the Wizards lose to the Cavaliers?
Damn, that means Cavaliers took themselves out of the first pick. Now it's officially the New York Knicks and Phoenix is the worst 2 teams. But that's subject to change, though, because Bulls are right behind them in that race.
you want to know? Now I'm going to do an impression for you. It is Dan Gilbert with the 2-game winning streak. I mean, what the fuck? I mean, it's like, you know, wait, now my other Dan Gilbert impression. I told you guys, we're supposed to win. Now, you're probably saying that looks a lot like Steven's video.
No, this is Dan Gilbert right here. You walk into the office, follow Yellow Brick Road. Hey, Dan Gilbert, you're 11-41. I know. Thanks for the number 1 pick. I know. 2 in a row. I know. What are you going to do about next year? I don't know.
Exactly. Exactly. This guy doesn't. All he knows is right now. It's like lose, you know. And
I got a question for you. Would you shut the fuck up?
I have a better thing for you. I have a better thing, and that's Larry Drew, the Cavaliers coach. You want to see an unhappy guy. You know, poor Larry Drew, he's 60 years old. You know, and you know what he looks like? He looks really sad, like one of the characters on Roots. You know? He's sitting there like, he has this sad look on his face like, I made $2.5 million to be a head coach, but they're making me watch these people every night and do nothing about it. And he has so much as intimated that he doesn't want to be a coach anymore. He doesn't want to be a coach in basketball anymore. Who can blame him? Guy gets the short end of the stick every time. The only time he got head coaching jobs were teams tank. How would you feel if that was your destiny?
Yeah, I know. Imagine having to walk in the Cleveland Cavaliers with a clipboard. You're like, oh my God, it's so depressing.
Well, that's it. And so the word is the Cavaliers will have a new coach next year. And the year after, and the year after, and the year after.
And whoever comes in is going to be like, oh no.
And then here's what you're going to get. It'll be something. I'll use the black cow of death as a telephone in this prop instance. Okay, there he is. He's peering into your soul. Don't let him get too close to you, or else something terrible will happen to you and your loved ones. All right. Here, it would be something like this. The phone call would go, yeah, this is Dan Gilbert. Yeah. Yeah. Who's this? You can help me. What? You can help me on how to fire a coach every year and hire. This is Jimmy Haslam, isn't it? I don't need your help. Click. Only in Cleveland do we have more owners who know how to fire coaches instantaneously. It's like spontaneous combustion. It's like they're changing underwear. It doesn't make sense. It's like, and we're going to get, and you want to know why? It's like, well, look at the Nets and Kenny Atkinson. It's like, what? Kenny Atkinson is the next great coach. Yeah, he's the next Pop. I'm sure. Yeah, you don't. These new coaches they bring in, they don't work.
Mr. Moohead, imagine you getting a coaching job for Cleveland, and the first day you walk in, you see J.R. Smith who looks high all the time, and Jenny Osmond and all the players. You see a bunch of retards, and you're like, what am I supposed to do with this? And you got a clipboard. You're like, what play do I draw up?
No, you won't. Better yet, it's like, okay, here's the problem with the offense. All right. The problem with the offense is the guy who initiates the play is Colin Sexton. He's the point guard, but he doesn't know how to pass. Right there, I see a problem. I don't know about you, but Houston, we have a problem. it was the same thing as we had with DeShone Kizer with the Browns. It's like, what's the problem with the offense? Kizer has to touch the ball. That's the problem with the offense. You know?
So is it fair to say is the Cavs roster full of DeShone Kizers?
The Cavs. You want to know what's amazing is J.R. Smith disappearing. You know, they say when your 15 minutes of fame is up, it's up. You know, J.R. Smith and his shirtless exhibition in the $1.5 million parade, you know, it all just fizzled into thin air. We haven't even heard or seen him. We don't know where he is. He is, for all practical purposes and intents, dead and forgotten. Nobody wants to touch him with a 10-foot pole.
He's in L.A. with LeBron. Where do you think he is?
Yeah, right. I mean, it's pathetic. I mean, nobody cares. The Cavaliers got nothing. I mean, they got some players on their roster who
why
are
would
like,
you waste all that money on Kevin Love?
why? Because they already had him, and
Trade him.
No, you don't understand. Dan Gilbert could fuck up a wet dream. Okay.
Okay. Now it makes sense.
Yeah.
I think Kevin Love doesn't have any trade value. I think if anything, they should have traded him during the summer.
That's right.
Some sort of value.
You're right.
That's right. But they paid him a ton of money, and and they bought his "I want to stay in Cleveland" sting. And Dan Gilbert, it was his idea, which it always is his idea, and it goes terribly awry. And now he's done something to his foot that will probably never heal.
And here's another problem. Whoever acquires Kevin Love not only acquires the fact he's injury prone now, but then they got a 4-year deal on that guy. So their teams are going to be like, whoa, wait a minute now. Why did you give him 5 years here?
No,
5 years.
You know who I think? I think the perfect place for Kevin Love is Boston.
Yeah.
Right. It is.
I really believe that's the place. So playing for that coach in that city with his complexion, perfect. You know, that way. No, that way. Tommy Heinsohn, before Tommy Heinsohn died,
Freeze
frame.
Freeze.
I didn't hear.
There you are.
You just came out of freeze.
Oh, sorry.
Hey, you're off freeze mode now. You can talk.
Okay. I was just doing Tommy Heinsohn, and I was thrilled at the prospect being a Caucasian on this team for once. The last one we got was damaged in Utah, and I don't need a damaged white guy. I need Kevin Love. Well, come to think of it, he's damaged too. I mean, got no trade value. None.
Hey, Mr. Moohead, would the Celtics try to acquire Kevin Love if Kyrie left next year?
You know, if Kyrie left, it would be considered the most meaningless trade in the history of basketball. We got Isaiah Thomas, they got Kyrie Irving, and it's just like pissing into the wind for both franchises. There's no good outcome on that. I mean,
one leg Gordon Hayward.
Gordon Hayward. It's like, Tommy Heinsohn. Would somebody please give him a pogo stick or something? It's like he could go out on Halloween as a pirate. You know, it's like the guy's clearly playing on one leg. I mean, it's like, give me a break. Yeah, Boston is 31-19, right?
Playing some 3-legged races.
So what, Rick?
Well, you can team up with Kevin Love playing some 3-legged races, but they'd probably still be a leg short.
There you go. I mean, they 31-19. I think the Celtics are now.
32-19, tied for fourth with the Pacers, who have lost 4 in a row since Victor Oladipo broke.
Yeah,
he's out for the year. Pacers season is pretty much done.
Done. They're toast. Yeah. I mean, they're losing to everybody now. And again, it just shows you, how one person can change the balance of things. And at least the little drunken midget Dan Gilbert has figured this much out. That if he manages not to play anybody with talent, the team will lose. Okay, he's figured that much out. It's like, and it's happened a couple of times this year. It's like Tristan Thompson comes back, we start winning. It's like, no, you're hurt. Sit back down. Yeah, he had swelling at his foot again, by God. You know, and it was like that other guy, the guy we got for David Nwaba. He showed up and the team got better. It's like, sit down. You're not playing. We don't want to get better. Don't you understand? And you know, and it's like now Ante Zizic is averaging double digits, you know, like 16 points a game and 10 rebounds. And it's like, sit down. Larry Nance Jr. is back. We were doing worse with him, you know, and on and on and on it goes.
So how does a team like San Antonio be competitive every year? I mean, they may not win it all, but at least they're competitive.
What is their record this year?
I think like 500.
Yeah, I mean, because Popovich is a good coach, but I mean,
are you talking about San Antonio? The Spurs are no, they're actually 31-22, winners of 4 straight, number 5 seed in the West.
It's amazing.
Their roster isn't loaded at all.
Well,
how do they do it?
They got a bunch of players like Patty Mills that's playing good. They got Gasol that's still playing good. Aldridge is moving the ball pretty well.
So again, it's back to good coach, good GM, right? I mean.
Yep.
Yeah, well, they may not be loaded, but they're not as loaded as Dan Gilbert anyway.
Popovich on pace to going now 20 years in a row, making the playoffs, only missing it 1 year in his whole career, and that's when he had to take over for fired Brian Hill in '98 season. He took over.
Oh, okay. Now somebody's saying Jake Miller is the one on the left. Moves right. Looks like a Pudipi chair. If it were red, what is a Pudipi chair? This, okay, which I'm pointing to, is a massage chair. And it's an iconic massage chair called Inada. That's the name of the company, Japanese company, Inada Dreamwave. It also was originally, if you want to look it up, called the Inada Sanyo, Sogno. This one's over 10 years old. So it is, you know, it's seen, you know, its better days because my fat ass has crushed it over the course of 10 years, remember, Jake. Best Impact is saying Zizic needs to play more. The Cavs need to see what they have in him. He's not a bad player. I know him from Europe. He just needs more chances. Well, you know, it doesn't matter whether he's good or bad because you're not going to fast break in Cleveland anyway. Play Ante Zizic and see what he can do. He's got some nice foot moves down low. He's just too slow to play defense, and he can be dragged out onto the perimeter and just burned time and time again. But it's fine. Let him play, you know. And Amsterdam being a smartass. Mood, you know that Brittany was captain of the debate team. Please don't attack my panel like that. Now, Chad is saying, Moo always has some crazy, weird, expensive shit. That's in my drawer here, and I don't let anybody see my stash, Chad. No. The real exotic, crazy, expensive shit. No. If you looked at this whole house, I mean, I think that's why Roxanne wants to see the other rooms in the house, see if they could possibly look worse than this. Like, is that humanly possible?
She might miss the sock, too.
Yeah, I mean, the sock. I got rid of the sock because of you. I mean, that's one thing. This microphone, you know, I thought it was harsh talking directly into that, you know?
Hey, Mr. Moore, it looks like Kyrie Irving returns to Cleveland on the 2nd, on Tuesday. They're coming, Boston's coming to y'all's house.
Oh, I was going to say, could we send him back? I make him fly all the way around the world so he falls off the earth. Okay.
Oh, yeah, he said the earth is flat.
Yeah, right. Mr. X, would it be possible for an owner to want to lose so badly to move the team or liquidate them completely? Yeah, I don't know. It depends. You know, if it's they're not going to liquidate them. The league isn't going to let them liquidate the Cavaliers. And really, what's the point of moving them? Because nobody would go to see them no matter what city they were in, you know. Yeah, so... Oh, DC Gaming says, calm down, Moo. Take your daily Zanny. There we go. Okay, I think I'll follow his instructions. Okay. DC Gaming, for all you do, this pill's for you. Wait a minute. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, wow, man.
Oh, wow. You need WWE now.
Oh,
You
wow,
should have
man.
counted to 11. That would have been the amount of Cavs wins. You were almost there.
Oh, wow.
You're a WWE fan, Moo.
Oh, my God.
Try to include.
You know something? I found a sudden interest in Anthony Davis. I feel as
your hero.
you know, I'm so
You just
calm.
saw jersey number 23 and got him confused with LeBron.
DC Gaming, I am so calm right now. So calm that I want to see more of Roxanne's doll collection.
Is this your Jimmy Haslam impression?
Viewership be damned, man. I want to see 400. I want to see Brittany's grandmother's 4,000 dolls. Yeah.
And perhaps the Cavs could trade the entire roster for AD. That's possible.
Oh, anybody got a spliff? Oh man, it's like, wow! I feel like listening to reggae now. Whoa! Now the only thing that's getting blurry is all of you. Whoa!
Hey Jimmy, can I get some tickets this year?
Woo! Jimmy has
I told you, Cavs fans need to just troll Dan Gilbert and buy a custom-made Dan Gilbert jersey and just show up to the game.
Yeah, you know what my feeling is. Dan Gilbert should go on Twitter and say, "Okay, here's trivia question. The first person who responds wins." All right, and I'll be taking the first 1,000 answers. Go. He asks the question. Person gets it right, and then he says, "Okay, the guy who got it right, fuck you. I don't like anybody who gets anything right, all right? But the other 999 free tickets on me. We got plenty of seats here. No fucking law. I'm Mr. Generosity. Look what I did. I brought you a title.
The first 200 come to the door. It's an autographed basketball by Dan Gilbert.
He's the only guy I know who's an owner in the NBA who could, drown in a kiddie pool."
Oh, you could fuck up a one-car funeral.
Yeah.
Well, he's only 3 foot tall. What do you expect?
Yeah. I mean, and DC Gaming said, "What happened to the calm down Moo? I liked him. But it's like, no. Nope. What you don't know about the Zanny pill is that the Zanny pill is an extended release formulation, and it's only like 0.5 in a 24-hour period. It doesn't do really. It's really a placebo dosage, but it gives me street cred. Okay. It's like, wow, that guy, he's kind of hip. He's taking a boutique drug. And you're probably saying to yourself, how did you get your hands on that, Mr. Boohead? Because I go out on the street and they're charging so much for that shit. And that you can't get a doctor to prescribe it. How did you do it?
Dan Gilbert.
Nope, Chad was right. Fucking money. That's all it is. You just buy people off. It really works. And you end up with these weird massage chairs and shit like that and boutique drugs. It was really interesting. Somebody was telling me about, did anybody on the panel know the drug called Tina?
What's that?
Yeah.
Never heard of it.
Oh, well, get ready, America. I'm always on the TLC tip. I'm on the cutting edge. You can't stop me. I am way ahead of the curve. And it's like, Tina, what drug are they calling Tina? And it's like, there are no new drugs. You find this out. They just come up with new names for them. It's meth. It's methamphetamine.
Wow.
It sounds a lot better when you call it Tina. I got to take a Tina. It's like.
Think it's mixed with something, maybe?
No. It's what it is. It's methamphetamine. I mean, it's not like, I'm going to take a Tina. It's more like, oh my God, I got to take another Tina. It's methamphetamine. It's unbelievable.
Well, it's like the drug cartel from next door always said, if you keep buying the drugs, we'll find a way to send it over.
Yeah, I should have made that a trivia question in the chat room, but somebody would have just Googled it. I don't know. Yeah. So trading all young players, Best Impact says, for one player is so stupid. 2 of them will be all-stars. They let Randall go. He's averaging 20 points. D'Angelo is an all-star. A lot of, Baker Mayfield is saying Josh Gordon tried to sell me some Tina yesterday. Thank you. Yeah, that would be the case. No, Tina is not another Steven girl, Derek.
Hey, Mr. Moohead, the Nets are 28-25. What do you think of that? That's pretty impressive.
That was the Kenny Atkinson reference that I did earlier in the show, but I don't expect you to keep up with me, even though I'm on a tranquilizer, Steven.
Okay.
Yeah. Kenny Atkinson's having a breakout season as a head coach. That's the name that keeps coming up whenever teams are on the verge of firing their head coach. Well, maybe we'll get another Kenny Atkinson. Then Kenny Atkinson will go 16 and whatever next year,
Hey, Moo, what do you think about these kids? They should play college longer so there's better talent that's developed.
Yeah.
And more quantity.
Yeah, there is a problem with this theory. And the problem is that the college game doesn't prepare them for the NBA game. It's one of the reasons why there have been so many misses in the first round of the NBA draft. If you look at it historically, there are people, and I can think of the Trajan Langdons who were at Duke, put up big numbers in college, and, Dwayne the Pearl Washington over in Syracuse. And I'm just going back from my childhood and earlier years, players who appeared to be can't miss kinds of players in the NBA. And they're really not prepared to play in college. The college game is ruled by old men like Mike Krzyzewski and people who are it's a slow down, score in the 60s kind of thing. And the one-on-one move, no, it's not. A guy like Kyrie Irving, all right, who's probably if not the best, one of the best ever with the handle. Yeah, and going one-on-one and being able to finish and score in a multitude of ways for a shorter man who's 6'3" to be able to finish in such a multitude of ways at the basket. It's very impressive. But he didn't do any of that shit at Duke. Well, he didn't do much at Duke because of his foot, but Krzyzewski wouldn't let him do that shit. And it's like Michael Jordan played for Dean Smith. And Dean Smith isn't going to let Michael Jordan do that shit at North Carolina. It's not going to happen. But you got to look beyond that at the skill set. And that was the thing with LeBron James. Everybody knew LeBron James from the summers that he played with the pros. As a high school player, he played with the pros. It's like, oh my God, he fits right in there, He's like, looks like a man out there, So that's how you have to judge players. You have to project them into this NBA game. And every year, there's a guy who comes out of nowhere that you say, wow, that guy, his game's really equipped. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Would you say that's the beauty of Kentucky, love them or hate them, that their style of ball is the closest to the NBA?
Yeah, but I mean, a Michael Kidd-Gilchrist, for example, can't shoot. And it doesn't matter how well he runs up and down the floor and how well he plays defense. I mean, who came into the league recently from Kentucky who was a can't-miss NBA prospect? And
wasn't Towns pretty good?
Karl Anthony Towns, he can't turn that team around. I would say that the question about Karl Anthony Towns is when they made the playoffs, he fell asleep and went narcoleptic in the playoffs. And so there's a lot of questions about Karl Anthony Towns' drive, his commitment, a talented player. But there's a lot of players who you would think, based on their numbers, are going to be great NBA players. And I'm, warning people about Zion too. This is not a given. The NBA, it's just like predicting quarterbacks. Did any of you on the panel think that Baker Mayfield would be this good?
No.
No.
I don't.
From the Big 12, that was my big issue because Big 12 has never produced a quarterback.
But what you can never tell is how he processes the field.
Right.
You can never tell what's here, okay, conceptually. You can only get an idea of, we heard this before, oh, he's great at learning a playbook and this and that. But what we saw was way advanced as far as, picking up where the blitz was coming from. That knack, that uncanny knack to find an open piece of field to buy him. Field. Sorry. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
But it's a unique skill set. And that's the way it is in the NBA. The NBA the world is full of talented players, guys like Andrew Wiggins, who have a great amount of physical talent. The question is, and it was funny because I was watching the halftime of the NBA broadcast, and Charles Barkley and Shaquille O'Neal got into it because they were talking specifically about Giannis, and they were saying, doesn't he need to develop a perimeter shot? And Shaq's like, no. And it's like, well, of course Shaq believes that because Shaq never did shit. Shaq never developed anything except his weight and his height. He never learned how to shoot a free throw. Give me a fucking break.
And that's why at the end of his career, when they switched to the 3-ball, he had a very short-lived career.
That's right. And you got a guy like Charles Barkley who learned how to shoot the 3. Okay. And, so of course he took the other side. And the fact is, there is no reason for Giannis not to develop a better shot, except that he's lazy and he doesn't feel he has to.
Right.
And he's not driven enough. And, these are all the intangibles that, who's going to be the next LeBron James, the next Michael Jordan, the next Kobe Bryant. These people were driven to get better in their games, and they developed and honed a craft that made them unguardable and unstoppable in the NBA.
But then they had pro coaches that even took them to the next level.
Yeah, but it's their work ethic,
right?
More than anything, it's you got to put the sweat in. I mean, LeBron, when he came up, had that weird fading, twisting motion when he shot, and now when you look at how he squares his shoulders when he shoots, it's almost mechanical compared to the freeform LeBron who came up to the Cavaliers as a young kid. Now everything is squared away to the basket, and it's no wonder that he's become a 50+% shooter when everyone said he couldn't do it. That was the difference between him and Jordan.
Mr. Muheddin, do you think what do you think? Do you think the work ethic as far as U.S. NBA players is farly different than European players? Because back then, the players that got drafted to Europe, other than your Peja Stojakovic or Hedo Turkoglu, they were very few far in between. But now it's not uncommon to see a shitload of guys come from Europe and play better basketball than some of these guys coming out of the NBA draft.
Well, first of all, they start younger in Europe, all right? And they get used to the traveling. They get used to the duration of seasons, the physicality of playing with men instead of boys. Even a guy like Jetty Osman was playing at 16 in Europe. This happens. I mean, guys like Ricky Rubio, and guys, they were playing at 16 in Europe. So there seems to be an earlier start in European basketball, but the work ethic is, what it comes down to is a guy like Dirk Nowitzki. Dirk Nowitzki worked on a shot, that crazy 7-foot ball up here, fadeaway release that nobody could block, and it was money. Paul Pierce, who was a slow basketball player, Paul Pierce didn't have foot speed, but he found his spots on the floor and he developed that fade, and you couldn't guard it. I mean, the thing is, these people worked on their games to develop certain elements of their game that were just unstoppable.
But do you think Americans got lazy? Because 15 years ago, they would laugh at the idea that European basketball players could ever surpass NBA players. Now it's like quietly we're saying, those guys are better than us.
Well, what I see is that when guys only play 1 year in college and they're coming up 18, 19, 20 years of age, and they were stars in high school, they were recruited to college when they were in 7th and 8th grade, and basically everything was handed to them. And now they come into a league like Colin Sexton, where he was considered young bull. He was strong when he was playing with boys, but he ain't so strong when he's playing with men in the NBA. Now the question is, Colin Sexton, you want to go to the basket, you got to learn how to finish, because they're going to reject you and you're not going to get a single call because you're a rookie. You've got to devise creative ways to get your shot off. And it really comes down to, and that's how I look at, and I don't mean to badmouth Luka Doncic. I don't want to do that. But the fact is, the question is, if we were getting excited about players, then we would have been swept away with Linsanity when he was in New York. And whatever happened to Lin? And the answer is nothing happened, because there was no game there beyond that stretch where he was an unknown.
No, but I mean, with all fairness, I'm not saying that American NBA players are garbage. Like, what I'm essentially saying is that European players are slowly catching up to us, because back then we would have said, oh man, these guys are trash. Like, nobody in the world could beat us. Even like when USA men's basketball, we dominated every team in the world. So we got kind of lazy and not developing our players, and then the other European players just caught up to us. At least seems like.
What it seems like to me is that players either work hard on their game or they don't. That's what it appears to me. And I don't mean just the offensive end. It's like if you're Giannis, you have to develop a perimeter three-point shot. Because if you don't, there are other big men who shoot the long ball better than you, and he would be unstoppable. If you had to come out and cover him from behind the arc, a guy who's 6'11", who can put the ball between his legs and jam it, and his one step is equal to your two, I mean, there's no way you're going to fucking guard him. But you see, he has to want to do it. And again, maybe it's not so much that the European players have elevated, it's that the American players are discouraged after they get their initial rookie payday, and they're in the league. They're going to have a long career. They're going to get paid. But when they see what the price is that has to be paid to become great, they're not willing to pay it. Don't forget, as great as LeBron James is, if you had to say one play, take one play out of all of LeBron James' career, what play do you remember?
For me, it was the block.
That's right.
The block.
The chase down block. Yeah. Now, that is not something that he made a highlight reel without the ball in his hands. And the fact of the matter is, he was winded. He was exhausted. He'd missed shots at the end. Both teams were exhausted. And in that moment, he covered more ground than any human being could. And they already did the study on it. It was incredible. Oh my God, 60-odd feet in whatever seconds. It was crazy.
Oh, Mr. Wood, I do like that fadeaway shot he did. Was that against Toronto, the one where he was running and he threw it up?
Oh, yeah. Well,
that one was
Orlando, the Orlando inbounds playoff. Yeah. I mean, but what resulted in a championship is what you remember. And what young players have to remember in the NBA is that you can change the game on the defensive end, not just on the offensive end. And we're very much a ball-in-hand league, a shoot-the-three league, a one-on-one Rucker Park league. We are not any longer about the well-rounded, all-around player. And that's the saddest part of this, in my opinion, is that you can be remembered for a play that didn't result directly in your team scoring. In fact, give the accolades to Kyrie hitting the big shot, but none of it was possible without that play by LeBron. And that's how you strive to get better in the league.
Yeah.
LeBron didn't come into the league being a great defensive player, believe me. You look at the first 2 years. Woof.
Mr. Moon, I'm curious to know, you got the Golden State Warriors. Like, is it fair to say if Draymond Green or like Klay Thompson was not on that team, they probably would be subpar, below players at best on another team?
I think that they would be, if there were teams like, Klay Thompson would never see the ball if he played with Colin Sexton. I mean, a lot of it has to do with if you have legitimate drive and kick guys. Klay Thompson could make shots, but Klay Thompson would be more like Kyle Korver than he would be like anything else. I mean, it would be a mixed bag depending on, how teams could choose to guard him based on who his teammates are. But his teammates have to be covered. You got to account for these other players all over the floor. Draymond Green is a guy who might be a hard hat. It was a lot like the Chicago Bulls. It's like if you had, who was the big
Dennis Rodman?
Charles Oakley, was that his name?
Yeah, or Dennis Rodman.
The enforcers who are one-dimensional kinds of players. They fit in when they have the right pieces around them. But if you send him off to be great someplace, it's like not going to happen.
Like if you send Draymond Green to New Orleans right now, even with AD, I don't think you wouldn't even know who the hell he was.
Yeah. So, it's already 7:15. Can you believe that? Now, I'm sorry about the freeze ups. What I'm going to do, I'm going to see if I can look up at my local Best Buy a better mesh network that I can use, because I don't know if this is YouTube hiccuping, because I'm not seeing anything personally in my speed of broadcast that would suggest, and I'll do it again before I leave, that would suggest that there is some problem in the speed what we're doing. It always comes out right around 51, 52 download, and showing full strength. So I don't know. It hasn't done that in previous broadcasts.
So it didn't freeze up on your end then when you were talking. It was just freezing up on our end.
I look at so many screens here to try to keep up with the chat room and try to, so I don't watch the actual YouTube broadcast, but I will be looking at it after the game,
Oh yeah. Also, go ahead. I know you're about to kick us off. I just want to go down the panel and take our scores predictions on the Patriots winner.
I was trying to avoid the Stupor Bowl, but yeah, let's go ahead and do the Stupor Bowl picks. Go ahead. We'll start with you, Stephen. Go.
Okay, I'll say New England wins 27. St. Louis, LA Rams 20. And Brady makes the game-winning touchdown drive.
All right. Roxanne gets to pick now.
Okay. Roxanne?
All right. I'm going to say New England wins 27-20.
Oh, same score I got. Cool.
She does everything you do. Anything that you do, she follows you. She's a devotee. All right, Rick.
New England. It's going to be 31-23.
All right.
Brady will be MVP.
Philip.
I'd say 35-31 Patriots.
All right. And Brittany? No, she says, no, I'm not even into this. She still hasn't.
Go ahead, type it in the comments section, Brittany.
No, yeah, that's right. She hasn't forgiven Stephen. It's obvious that this thing is like.
Type it in the comments section.
It's the end of Lonely Street, the Heartbreak Hotel. You're gonna be lonely, baby. All right. Me, I'm going balls to the wall with this. This is my I don't give a flying fuck score. The New England Patriots 37, the Rams 13. In a game that means nothing, in a game that won't be close, that will be the coronation of Tom Brady and Bill Belichick, and that they can say after the game, but Sean McVay's going to be there a lot more in the future. And Jared Goff will be there a lot more in the future. This is, and there's one more thing I want to say before I go. Naming Dirk Nowitzki and Dwayne Wade to the All-Star game as a complimentary thing when they're old codgers makes me want to throw up in my mouth. All right? It's bad enough that I've had to watch these clowns play well past the time that they should be playing. Dirk Nowitzki, give me a break. I mean, Roxanne has dolls that are more flexible than Dirk Nowitzki at this point. Come on.
Ooh,
what do I want to watch that shit for? And it's like Dwayne Wade. I mean, haven't these guys gotten enough accolades already? Stop it already, please. 37-13 New England, because that's the way it has to go. And you'll sit back and you'll go, that was entertaining because I like the commercials. Oh, I like Maroon 5.
Brady, write your score down real quick, so I'll write it down on here.
Yeah.
420 DC game, and Jake, I wrote yours down as well in the comment section.
All right. Everybody, thanks a lot for tuning into this edition of Moohead Radio. We're back again on Monday. And
the winner gets an autographed baseball of Dan Gilbert.
No, well, thank you, man. That's a can't miss out.
I love your reaction, man. That's priceless, dude. I love it.
What do I need that for? I mean, it's like,
like your whole life was over. Like somebody drained your bank account out. Like somebody stole your identity. You're like,
drain my bank account. That's an anti-Semitic remark. I mean, that's racist. I'm sorry. You associate a Jewish man with his bank account.
No, but like somebody stole your identity.
No, it's wrong on so many levels. I'm sorry. I can't forgive you now. Thanks, everybody, for tuning into this edition of Moohead Radio. We'll be back again on Monday to talk about what happened in the Stupor Bowl. Thanks for tuning in, and until next time, hasta la vista, Pastor Heads. Good night.